It says it's live.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Hey, hello, welcome to Trail Talk. I hope this is on and working. It looked a little different to us today, and you just never know around here if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Anyway, thanks again for joining us today for Trail Talk. I'm Edie, and I am live here at the Chisholm Trail Heritage Center in Duncan, Oklahoma. If you haven't been here to the Chisholm Trail Heritage Center, I'd really like to encourage you to come by and see us. Next week, we start Free Family Art Monday, new time, 1 to 3. Drive up here, we'll be sitting outside under the portico and have 3 art projects and all kinds of fun things going on out there, and it's all free and it's come and go. So if you know someone you think might be interested, please tell them about it. It's a totally free opportunity for anyone of any age. So that, and then it's just summertime, you know, it's summertime, and we're going to have a new exhibit here next month about Juana Parker and a lot of dinosaur bison information this summer. So we've got a lot of really cool stuff happening. But today we are going to be looking at the Oklahoma State floral emblem, flower and wildflower. That's right, the state of Oklahoma. I read this comment more than one time. We may be the only state that actually has 3 floral emblems of some sort. Hi, Mary. Welcome.
I'm the 3rd flower. No.
Speaking of flowers, yeah. Anyway, yeah. I think
we're just special.
I mean, I didn't dig into every state to see, but I mean, think about it. We have 3. They're all pretty special. So without further ado, let's just jump in. Let's dig in. A floral emblem is the mistletoe. Now, it's been in my lifetime that the mistletoe was downgraded from flower to floral emblem.
Right. Yeah.
Although the way they worded it in the research, it was kind of like the floral emblem and flower were equal.
Right.
I don't know. Maybe it's just
potato.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Syntax, I don't know. Anyway, but you all know, or maybe you didn't know, the mistletoe is our floral emblem. And I had been curious about why it was selected a number of times, but historically, I think it's kind of cool that it's been on an official state symbol for so long. Yes,
before we were actually in a state.
Exactly, yeah. So it's Oklahoma's oldest symbol, period. The state symbols and emblems, this is number 1 in chronological order.
Right.
It was chosen when Oklahoma was still a territory in
1893.
Yeah, 1893. So mistletoe is a parasite.
We grow on you here in Oklahoma.
Right. And it's significantly at Christmas time. It's used as a decoration. Right.
Or have it out.
But it was designated on February 11th, 1893 in House Bill number 49. That was an early one. Introduced by Representative J.A. Wimberly. It was the first to establish an official floral emblem by any legislature. So this is number 1 as far as
many categories.
Yeah. So it was controversial. Mainly probably because it's a parasite, I'm guessing. But there was a Mrs. Beeson of El Reno who lobbied for it to be considered for floral exhibits at the World's Columbian Exposition at the Chicago World Fair. So I think by having selected this, then Oklahoma had a representation at that particular exposition at the Chicago's World Fair. So that's kind of cool. I appreciate you, Mrs. Beeson, for having the foresight and the, oomph to get that done.
Right.
Some other people wanted the passion flowers, but she persuaded Wimberly, who was only 27. He was a Tennessean and an 89er. So he came for the first land run, and he represented Kingfisher and Canadian counties. Then in 1907,
After we statehood.
yeah, Senator John Golobi, who was a native of Yugoslavia, a country that does not exist anymore.
Exactly.
Isn't this all very interesting?
He was a publisher of the Oklahoma State Register.
Yeah, yes,
And
a newspaper, and he probably was present as a journalist, representing the Oklahoma State Capitol when the original mistletoe bill was passed in 1893. He was also an 89er.
Right.
He passionately orated on the subject. That means he talked about it. We don't say words like that.
That's right.
anymore, yeah. Recalling that mistletoe was the only greenery available to decorate graves during the hard winter of 1889. And in 1910, his bill became law. So not only was it selected with an emphasis on Oklahoma Territory having this representation at a World's Fair, and the fact that it was selected when we were still a territory, historical importance there, but kind of an emotional attachment.
Right.
Because if the winter was really hard in 1889, there were probably a lot of people who didn't survive that winter.
A lot of graves that were laid, and the only decorations they had available were to represent and show respect to.
Right, something to decorate with. So, it's a little bit of a kind of a bittersweet
Emotional
thing.
pull there.
Yes, exactly. Controversy arose again in the 1980s when Kelly Haney of Seminole wrote legislation naming the Indian blanket as the state's wildflower. So that passed the legislature in February.
House Bill 1649. So we were at 49 with the mistletoe.
Yeah, that's true. 1,600 bills later. And so that with the new floral, officials noted with some apology, the long ridiculed yet revered mistletoe remained the state's official floral emblem. So adding another flower to our repertoire of state symbols and emblems did not mean that we had to get rid of.
It was not replaced.
It was not replaced. The mistletoe stands on. So what is it? So we know it is a parasite. Yeah,
Grows
here
on
it is.
trees.
It grows on tree branches, and these clusters are called witches' burns. And birds will nest up in those chunks of that, but you can see that the branches that this is on, I mean, this could be in the winter. Some of these leaves look like they've turned, but you guys, you know what a tree covered in mistletoe looks like. And just in case you don't, I'll show you.
It kind of looks like a cartoon.
A Dr. Seuss tree,
It was little bushels,
Yeah,
I will not eat
the rest. I'm sure the rest of the tree has died.
I mean, it says that the symptom results in clusters of weak shoots in the host tree, so it's sitting there eating away at the tree, pretty much.
Yeah, just taking the nutrition out of it. So the word mistletoe comes from an Old English and Germanic word. So the last part, pronounced with an English accent, I guess, sounds a little bit like toe or tall. If you get to Oklahoma, it's going to be as drawn out as possible. The other part of the word missile is a little bit obscure, but there is Germanic word that means dung or filth. So some might say that it actually kind of comes out dung twig. Right. I mean, I don't know. There's a dark side to the mistletoe story as well. Honestly, mistletoe has the most interesting tale.
That's
of
right. It's
all
not
of
just
the flowers.
straightforward.
Yeah,
It's
of
had
all
its
of
ups
our
and downs.
symbols today, this is the one that's got the most interesting thing. So in Norse mythology,
Right.
that would be like Norway and
Mhm.
Sweden, Finland, all up in there.
Yes.
The plant plays a part in the story with a
Violent.
violent conclusion.
Mhm.
The god Balder is killed by his blind brother Hur with all things a mistletoe projectile. It makes me really want to read this
I
story.
know, right?
Yeah. Some versions say he came back to life and his mother Frigg cried tears that became the
Berries.
mistletoe berries.
Declaring the love of the plant.
Yeah, symbolic love, a mother's love for her son.
Mhm.
It's a plant that kills in more ways than one. Okay, so we know it kills the trees, but there's something called bird lime, a juice made from mistletoe berries. This is a terrible thing.
It is.
It's used as an adhesive for bird traps, for
Mhm.
people that hunt exotic birds to eat.
They'll put them on the branches and then
Yeah.
they're stuck, kind of like a
You
glue.
know, you know, like the glue mouse traps. You guys know what I'm talking about.
Mhm.
It's kind of gross, but anyway, it's considered illegal in most places, but that is something that they do. Some species of the plant are toxic to humans too.
If ingested,
Yeah,
right.
talk about that a little bit more. But then we also know this as the
The
plant,
kissing tree,
The
or giving
plant. Yeah.
flower, or whatever.
Yeah, so historically, it represents romance, fertility, and vitality. Because nothing says love like bird feces and poison, because
The links you'll go to for the loved
Yeah.
ones.
the Celtic Druids valued mistletoe for its healing properties. It was used to decorate at Christmas time. The origins are shrouded in uncertainty, of course. It's believed the ancient Greeks celebrated the winter holiday of Cronia, a lively festival and one of the biggest of the year with mistletoe, and may have started the tradition of kissing under it.
Right.
Okay, so mistletoe produces white berries. We see them. you
That
can
first
see
shot
them.
we had them
Yeah,
too.
that's true. That's a really good
Like a
picture of
sticky
them.
seed.
Yeah. It's like a sticky seed that it can attach to birds and mammals for a ride to new growing sites. I was wondering, how does this get in these trees? And that
Seed
process exactly is known as seed dispersal
right.
or zoachery. And that is one of the terms that we were teaching our kindergarten, first and second graders this last school year. So
We are familiar with that.
yes, we are. And now we know a new way that we can talk to
Talk about
kids
it,
about it.
right.
Yeah. 3 kinds of butterflies depend
Accurate.
on the
Mhm.
mistletoe.
Great purple hair streak, the thickest hair streak, and the Johnson's hair streak.
Yeah. The adults feed on the nectar, and so do some native bees.
Mhm.
The white berries are toxic to humans, but other animals, deer, elk, squirrels, chipmunks, porcupines, birds, eat the berries.
Right.
And so that's the first time I've heard of a berry being toxic to humans,
But birds being able
but
to.
birds being able to eat it, and the fact that it's white, because most of the time, you know, you teach kids
Color.
don't eat red
Mhm.
things.
Mhm.
So that, I find that interesting. So stay away from the mistletoe berries. And another thought about the kissing thing is Washington Irving referred to this on Christmas Eve in a collection of essays he wrote. And each time a couple kissed this was 1820s.
Right.
When you kissed under the tree, you
Sprig.
pulled a berry off. You don't eat it.
Right.
You pull it off, and when all the berries are gone, so's all the,
Kissing power.
yeah, the kissing power. So there you have it, mistletoe. Oklahoma's floral emblem. Now, our state flower, the Oklahoma rose. First of all, I love it that the rose is actually called Oklahoma rose. It's a
Right.
hybrid tea rose created by Herbert Swim and O.L. Weeks in 1964. Rose been around for a while.
Yeah.
As she's 60 years old this year.
There you go.
Happy birthday. It's the Oklahoma Rose's birthday.
Dottie
So,
Weisenberger.
yes.
For more than 30 years to have it as our official state.
Power to you, Miss Weisenberger, for really seeing
Dedication.
that through, exactly, for
30
30
years.
years. And so it was finally adopted in 2004, which is actually 40 years after it was made or created. It's deep red, and some say it's to represent the bloodshed during the forced relocation of the 5 American tribes to Oklahoma in the 1800s, which would have been the 5 civilized tribes, Chickasaw, Choctaw, Cherokee Creek, or Muskogee Creek, and Seminole, who traveled their journey, even though it was different trails. We refer to that as the Trail of Tears.
Right.
Yeah. And so
The deep dark red coloring.
yeah, beautiful dark red.
Almost
This
a
one,
black.
I love this particular picture of it.
It's also Boomer Sooner.
It is, yes, that's right. And it's
Look at that. It's a beautiful opening.
it has like 50 petals,
Mhm.
and they're kind of like set in as double
50 petals. Yeah, an outstanding double bloom.
double bloom, yeah. And sometimes, yeah, it just gets so dark, and the smell is just that very traditional sweet rose
Mhm.
fragrance that you smelled when you walked into your grandma's house, because
Right.
she used Avon roses,
Mhm.
roses
And
for
shampoo.
perfume.
The soaps.
The
and
soaps
everything.
exactly had all that stuff. That makes just such a
Picture in your mind.
yes, yeah. So there were about 180 gardening clubs who lobbied to add the Oklahoma rose to Oklahoma State flower bouquet. Our bouquet of flowers, because the wildflower was already, it was in the 80s, and of course 1893 was the emblem. So this was the last one added. I remember when it was added, I had kids in elementary school, and in 2007, it was Oklahoma's 100th birthday.
Yeah,
Oklahoma
which was, right,
was
was
100. And I had a couple of kids in elementary school, and it was a big thing, and we played out the wedding, you know, between Oklahoma Territory and Indian Territory. And we had red Oklahoma roses. We had wedding cake. I mean, it was like a whole thing, a very big thing. But these roses apparently are fairly easy to grow in this climate.
Right.
I inherited some rose bushes when I moved into the house where I live now. And
Do you know they were there?
yes,
Okay.
yes.
They didn't
And
pop up and.
no, one of them was giant pink roses. One was the little bitty red ones, the
Little
little
buds.
sisters or some, whatever they call them. I'll just say they're not there anymore. I mean,
Not everybody can grow, is that what you're saying?
yeah, I don't know. I would really like to give this a
I
shot,
can't grow anything, so.
but
I've got rocks.
I'm a little
Weeds
nervous.
that I decorate as.
I don't know what kind of financial investment it would be to try to grow.
It takes 3
rose.
years.
Yeah,
Prep like
I would
strawberry.
like the strawberries, yeah. I'll be planting strawberries. But, it needs, a medium, oh, it says it gets its darkest color and best performance with some heat.
Some heat, right.
So the hotter the temperatures get, the
Right.
darker it's gonna it's bushy, 4 to 8 feet. I mean, I
Right.
read it's like, can get 8 feet
Mhm,
high.
mhm.
The foliage is large and green
Black
leaves.
velvet red color.
And a 5-inch diameter on the roses. So, I mean, that's like, those are,
Well, I mean, look at this one.
those those roses
You
must
have to have a
be,
big stem to
this-
support that.
that
weight,
is,
too.
yes. I would love to go and see some,
That were fully bloomed. I'm
Mhm.
picturing like Alice in Wonderland.
right?
Those big,
Yes,
you know.
yes. They're just so beautiful. I have one more picture of one.
Yeah, that's like the perfection
Yeah, with the
Rose,
little, just the little curve top on it.
Have the bud there in the middle.
Mhm. Yeah, just beautiful. I can almost
I
imagine.
can smell it.
Yeah, right, smell-o-vision.
Scratch
We got smell-o-vision going right here. Okay, and then our state wildflower, the Indian blanket.
Again, it's just another beautiful flower.
Oh, it's just, I mean, we nailed it. I'm well done, people who lobbied for all this and
Mhm.
legislators. So, you guys probably recognize this flower. It, starts blooming usually about March,
Should I say March, April?
probably
Mhm.
April.
Mhm.
Usually they're mixed in, they're a little bit later than the Indian paintbrush.
Mhm.
But they last a long time. Yeah, 1986 was when it
Mhm.
became our state wildflower. So, it's a member of the largest family of flowering plants. Its name, Indian blanket, it's a flat, multi-petaled, round flower. The petals are two distinctly separated colors with dominant red in the center and predominant yellow at the tips. And you can kind of see it. We'll look at some others, but the red literally goes out so far and then it's yellow. Now,
Kind of like an ombre.
how does that happen?
I have no idea.
Flower after flower after flower, they're yellow on the
Mhm,
tips,
mhm.
and it's pretty symmetrical.
Right.
It's not like it goes out here on
Mhm.
one and down here on another one. How cool is
Even with
nature?
everything right there, you'd think it would cross pollinate or
Right.
something would change some.
Yeah. How cool is nature that this happens? And you can see here, bees
Mhm.
love
Mhm.
to get in these
Look at all
bad
that.
boys.
He's got on there.
Yeah, he is
He's covered.
covered in pollen. He's
He's
about to go home and feed some babies.
He's rolled around in that a few times.
Yes, he's like,
I'll take all the pollen.
yeah, all the pollen. So they kind of grow bush type,
Mhm.
and they can be 1 to 3 feet in height. Typically, I don't see them that tall,
No.
3 feet. But usually about a foot tall
Mhm.
is what
Right.
are the ones that I've mostly seen. So they're known as blanket flowers. And where does it say there's two?
It also passed in House Bill 1649 with the rose.
Oh, wait,
Or
was
no, the
that
mistletoe.
rose?
What was 1649?
That was
Mistletoe.
no, that was this 49 was the mistletoe.
Okay, then
What was the
1649.
blanket? I mean, what was the rose?
Says in May 86, passage of House Bill approved the Indian blanket as a symbol.
Yeah,
Mistletoe was House Bill 1649.
was 49.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's
It
blanket.
was,
Sorry.
yeah.
Okay, we're referring back to this one. Okay.
Okay, so, it was named for a French amateur botanist. And
I'm not gonna try that
I'm
one.
not either. I don't want to offend anyone. But there was a Dr. Doyle McCoy, an Oklahoma public school biology teacher, who chose to lobby for the adoption as the state wildflower for the simple reason. It has a high tolerance of heat and arid conditions, ensuring that a majority of the state could appreciate its promotion of Oklahoma's heritage and grace for most of the year. Well said, Dr. McCoy.
It's just
Another
one area that could enjoy it.
3 individuals
Mhm.
are responsible in part
Right.
for the adoption of each of these floral
Floral
emblems for our state. And I'm so
And
appreciative.
each one of them has their own stature or meaning behind it.
Yes, and I appreciate
Also
citizens
history too.
who kind of take their citizenship serious and are really want to do something
For the good.
memorable.
Right.
For the good
Mhm.
of the people of the state. I love that. Thank
For
you.
generations to come to remember her.
Yes, yes, it's just so awesome. In 1988, to help promote statewide beautification, the legislature adopted Senate concurrent resolution 103 proclaiming every 3rd Saturday of May as State Wildflower Day. I think that we should start recognizing that day.
Mhm, mhm.
That day just slipped by us.
Did, I
and
was
we
gonna
didn't
say, that
even-
was just the other day then.
Yeah, we didn't even give it a thought.
Mhm.
All right, so I've got a few more pictures of
And
some.
it does stick around till September.
Yeah,
So
so
it's a long
here's
way.
this is what in the roadways, I know you guys.
Medians and things. you
Yeah, the wildflowers, one of my kids lives up in the city area. And he starts sending me messages and asking if the wildflowers are blooming yet,
Really?
because the medians between Marlow and Duncan
said. Mhm,
are just so beautiful.
mhm.
And I mean, there's primrose, there Indian paintbrush, Indian
Mhm,
blankets,
mhm.
blue bonnets. It's just,
Right.
it looks so good. But here you can just see that the yellow
It's just
is,
the same.
it's the same on the,
Uniform.
it's very impressive.
There it is.
Here's a close-up, a beautiful close-up, and I did this because this is one of the art projects that we, or this is the model for one of the projects that we do during our Oklahoma
Education
history education session, which we just wrapped up at the end of school. We focus on the land runs and Oklahoma's history and all of those kind of things, how we became a state.
Right.
And for the art project, we, Maria is our art teacher, and she teaches a form of art called pointillism, which is just making a lot of tiny dots.
Like a sewing machine.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. And so the kids have a white sheet of paper, it's like a half sheet, and it has Indian blanket on it, just the outline. And then they have paint and little Q-tips, and they make pointillism Indian blankets. And it's lovely. It's a cool art form. It's a great little easy medium to use. It's a project kids can finish in about
Reflective
20,
history and
25
state.
minutes. Exactly. Representing so much of our state. It's just a great project, but I just wanted you guys to see and know that that's just kind of one of the things that our art projects have a
There's meaning
tie.
behind them,
They're-
right?
yeah,
Things
and
tied
there's-
together.
They're tied to our lessons,
Right.
but this is a beautiful example of that paintbrush. And again, just the tips.
I'll leave in the center. It's got,
That's true.
you know.
True. It has the brown and then it has the yellow with the brown tips there in the middle. It's just a beautiful.
And he was photo ready.
He was, wasn't he? He was like,
I'm ready for my close up.
come get me. Yeah. And then here's another picture, you know, the bees were on one, but these petals have opened up. I don't know if this is a different variety or they're on their way. Yeah, I don't know.
Wondering.
I don't know. This is the first time I've seen that. It looks like the center's kind of a button.
This one's kind of lost a petal or two.
But the butterflies also love the Indian paintbrush or Indian blankets. So what I was looking for was, okay, so they're called the Indian blanket for a couple of reasons. One, the bold colors are similar to those utilized by Native Americans in weaving blankets, but also because of the way they blanket
The ground.
the ground
Right.
where they cover.
Right.
They're pretty prolific, and they're not considered an invasive.
No.
Plant.
Right.
They are not, and they require good drainage, so you
Full
don't
sun.
really want to put them in clay, you know, soil. You want it to be, the roots to be able to drain away, so your
Any
tops.
kind of garden soil, as long as it drains well.
But you can grow them in pots, you can grow them in a meadow or a field or a pasture. You can grow them, I mean, obviously like the medians, or you could grow them in a bed.
So they're drought resistant, heat resistant.
I know, I've been thinking about kind of putting some rocks in an area at my house. And I was kind of wondering if I couldn't put some of these in those. It says that they're tolerant of heat. You know, but when you put plants in those rocks, they get really hot and
Says
dry
provide
out.
the constant moisture for
Yeah.
germination.
Yeah, so anyway, I'll get back with you. I might be able to grow these a little more easily than I can in Oklahoma rose.
Or strawberry.
Or a strawberry, for sure on the strawberry.
TBD on the
Yeah,
strawberry.
TBD for sure. So guys, that does it on our, for our, 3 floral symbols, the mistletoe, our floral emblem from 1893.
Right.
The Oklahoma rose, our state flower from 2004, and the Indian blanket, our state wildflower from 1986. So there's some good connections. And when I was looking through the Oklahoma Historical Society's page where they have the list of all of them, we have a new one. Yes, there was a new one that was just added, I'm gonna say in the last couple of weeks.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Brand new.
Brand new. So we're gonna have another one to throw in there for you guys. I can't wait. Tomorrow, I'm very excited to say that Deanna Dickinson McCall is going to be here at 3 o'clock for an interview. She is an award-winning artist, author, and cowboy poet. She has an interesting life. I read about her, where she raised her family and, anyway, she's from the Lakiba Sickles area here in Oklahoma now, and she's going to be here in person for an interview tomorrow. So I'm super excited. I hope you guys will join us. And until then, happy trails.